What's up? I'm Dan Fredenberg, and this is another Chance Encounter. I'm joined today with Andrew Rosenberg. How you doing today, Andrew?
Great, Dan. And it's a little early out here. It's 6:40 in the morning in Hawaii, but excited to be talking to you.
Awesome. I am too. Thank you very much for joining. And I am in a great mood because my favorite audience member is here today. And why is my favorite audience member here today? Is because I interview commercial real estate investors. I'm finding out what are their core competencies, why are they doing it, and the different questions that'll make sure that we know if the investor fits in our business or your business or whatever. But before we get too excited on that, Andrew, could you please introduce yourself to the audience?
Hi, I'm Andrew Rosenberg. I'm a limited partner investor from Honolulu, Hawaii. Invested in about 15 deals with a few different syndicators. Started out with one duplex right after the GFC, and grew over time, and hit a critical mass, just like so many investor stories of, oh gosh, this is not passive anymore, and life has got more complicated as I got older. I need to downsize the management aspect. Found syndications and found better returns and much less stress. So it's been a good experience so far.
All right, great news. So we already got a pretty good idea where you fit in. And just so you know, we're going to go through the five different motivations that I've found are distinct among commercial investors so that we understand where my guest is coming from. And we'll also go through the core competencies, and we'll get to that in a second. So first, let's go through the motivations, because sometimes I interview newbies and they know why they are involved in this, but they don't know what they're going to actually be doing. So I like to go through those real quick. So the first one is preserving purchasing power. Okay. And the way that that works is if you are relying on the cash flow that comes from your assets to make ends meet, then you're going to have to be making new acquisitions just to make sure that you've got that increased cash flow all the time. So, because that's what inflation really does. That's also why most generational wealth only lasts 3 generations. But this is not my main priority. My main priority is trading time directly for wealth, aka equity. And that's because I've got a background in CRM technology, and tech people make good money. And the problem with that is you end up giving away half of it in the form of tax. So I put my thinking cap on. It's not this one. I got another one that's my thinking cap. This is the 506 Beamy one. My thinking cap is another hat. And I was like, well, how can I pivot to make sure that I'm accumulating wealth instead of just trying to accumulate it by with half of what I'm actually making? So this is what I'm doing. But most people get into commercial real estate or real estate in general because they either want to take control of their time or they actually want to control it to the point of retirement. And maybe it just means fewer hours per week or fewer hours per month or fewer weeks per month or fewer months per year, whatever it is. That's what fast tracking your retirement is. It's a downshifting in the amount of responsibilities you tend to have or really need. And that's in big contrast with the next two. For example, the next one, they're just plain ambitious. They're looking for generational wealth. They want to buy their entire hometown. And what's really going through their mind is, they want to they want to make sure their great grandchildren never have to hold a day job, that sort of thing. And that sort of person is going to keep on. They're motivated to keep going, and they'll probably be hustling into their 90s. Just like the last group, I like to jokingly say that they want to save the world, but really what it means is that some people have chosen a sector of society, or maybe it's the environment or animals or sending people to the moon. Who knows what it is? But they've figured out that the financial side has to be all sorted out before you can make a really, really big impact on society or a particular group of people. So that's why they're making more commercial acquisitions. So, Andrew, of those five, what resonates with you? What describes you best?
I would say legacy as being a father is up there with the most driving factor in my life. I have a 13-year-old, soon to be 14, who feels like he's trying to be 21 tomorrow. And my family works in a family business, and you never know if that would be his thing in the future. Whereas real estate seems to be something that, all different types of personalities and types of people, different ways of doing things, people can still be involved. Not that it would be all consuming. The family business is definitely, 7 days a week, every waking minute. So for my son, it would be nice to be able to say, someday when I'm old, hopefully, here's the keys, you handle this. And, the education of learning how to handle the property managers, handling the lender, all these things. So, enough about economics and personal finance to not be taken advantage of and to make good long-term decisions. You don't need to hit the home run, just keep hitting the doubles and singles all day long. If I do my job right and get it up to a critical mass of size, it'd be pretty hard for my son or future generations to mess it up as long as the values are taught right. That's the big focus for me. So it'd be legacy in terms both of, making good economic, ethical decisions as people within your community, while obviously, securing the lifestyle that you'd want to live.
Yeah, I love that. That's a beautiful, beautiful answer. And one of the best things is that commercial real estate is multifaceted. So that means like even if your kids don't like the exact version of how you're doing things, maybe they'll find something else that's even better. But let's go through those roles just to make sure that you're crystal clear. I want to make sure that you not only understand how commercial real estate deals work, but I also want you to understand how my guest fits into those deals. And so I'll take it right from scratch. And if you want your copy of the Dan Does Deals commercial roll die, it has the Dan Does Deals part logo on there instead of the 506BB one. You can go to dandoesdeals.com. You can download it. I don't even ask for your email address, which is really, really dumb, but it's actually intentional just because I want you to be able to print it out for free. And then that way you can share it and communicate effectively on the topic of commercial real estate, regardless of who you're speaking with. So first, let's talk about repositioners. Repositioners, they're looking at a lot of different properties and they're doing a whole bunch of paperwork. And what are they doing with that paperwork? What are they trying to find out? Well, there's a fancy word for it. It's called underwriting, okay? And what it means is that they're doing the math. They're figuring out, is this property, because they're in acquisitions, they're saying, is this property actually making the amount of money that the seller says it is? Okay, that's the first thing they're doing. And it's called a repositioner because they're trying to figure out how can we change this property or how it's operated, basically what it does in a way to get more upside. And they have three main tools in their tool belt to find the upside. One is more advantageous lending from the financier. But the next one is more efficient operations. You stop those Benjamins from going down the toilet. But there's more than just unclogging toilets and collecting rent. There's also bookkeeping. And then there's my forte, which is marketing. And the value of marketing is to make sure that the vacancy rate stays low. But real estate is hot, 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 hot. So operations and advantageous lending, it's not really going to cut it in a lot of cases. So often they want to get a contractor team. They need some people to fix up the units, make the place nicer so that people will pay more in rent with a smile on their face. So that's the other upside part. But if the repositioner is like me and they're from the internet, they got another problem. They're going to need a local. They're going to need boots on the ground, somebody who can drop by on short notice. And that's not going to be me because I don't even want to have to find my passport. Andrew, I imagine the local element's not so great for you being in Hawaii. But if you have all of those four people standing in a line and you turn around to the tenants and say, hey, who are they? You'll say, oh, they're the owners. It's like, well, it's not that simple. Of course, the financiers, in a lot of ways, they're also owners. And, the banks, the fund managers, all those sorts of people. And when the repositioner has the property in hand, it turns around to the financier and says, hey, this property, I need tens of millions of dollars. You don't happen to have tens of millions of dollars you can lend me, can you? Well, the financier is going to have a question that we haven't answered yet. They're going to say, well, who's your KP though? Who's the key partner? See, if you want to be eligible for a loan on a commercial property, somebody in the fold has to already own a similar asset. So if you're looking to get a piece of a 350 unit apartment complex, even if you're Elon Musk, somebody in the fold has to already own a 350 unit apartment complex, or else you're not going to be eligible for the loan. On top of that, you need a certain amount of liquidity, and then you need a balance sheet of at least the amount of the loan. But if you have all those pieces, you've got yourself a commercial real estate deal. So, Andrew, you already mentioned that you focus on passive investment, which is a financier role. I'm not sure if you take up any others, or like if you actually try to be on GP teams at all. But why don't you take it away? What are your core competencies, and what are you looking to contribute?
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. Right now, just an LP.
Mhm.
Very busy with the day job gig. Um, and yeah, but maybe someday, you never know, for tax purposes. As you know, being a registered professional, getting your registered professional status, real estate professional status, is tax advantages. Just being out in Hawaii, the time needs I have, both from family and work. For me, being an LP is the right place for right now. But yeah, as you
Mhm.
know, it's always good to learn. And I've met how many people that have moved, transitioned from being an LP to a GP. It just was a process of a few years, and things changed when they realized, wait, I can do this.
Right, right. And as a GP, you do get a disproportionate amount of equity compared to LPs, just
Oh
because
yeah.
it's your deal. So that part definitely makes lots of sense. So my next question then is, it has to do with your buy box or your ideal property. And when commercial investors are asking each other, what are you looking for? What's your ideal property? They're really asking about three things. The first one's geography. They say location, location, location. So that means, where is it? What states, what counties, what neighborhoods? Okay, that's what they're going to want to know for sure. Second thing, especially the second one, I always call unit count. But if you're doing industrial or warehousing or something like that, then it's going to be off of square footage. But it doesn't matter if it's retail or multifamily or mobile home parks or self storage. The unit count is going to be what is really vital, because you need to know the size of the deal. And then the third thing is class, which unfortunately they use the same word for two different things. The first one is the condition of the building. So what kind of shape is it? Is it a nice building? If it's old and beat up, then it might be like a C. And if it's immaculate and fantastic, then it might be an A. But the second meaning of class, it has to do with where the property is located, in terms of what's the crime rate like, and what are the school districts like. Those are the other things that come into play, and it uses the same grade school system of, B minus, B plus, A minus, all that sort of stuff. So Andrew, as far as your passive investments go, what sort of things can you say about the properties that's easier to say yes to and more difficult to say no to?
Oh, yeah, sure. Over time, been doing this since 2010. So my experience has been, this isn't just me. I'm not having a strong opinion to influence other people, but C class is just too much trouble. The spreadsheet is never right. The projections are always wrong. Things break too much. Whether you're talking more of the C class in neighborhood than the asset itself, but vacancies are just a tough thing. And then once you get an A class, I don't mind A class. Even as within A class, what is A class? There's A class and there's AAA class. Once you get too far into the resort luxury lifestyle, I don't believe the margins are there to support profit. So the sweet spot being the B class market. But that being said, I'm not afraid of an A class deal. If you're looking at a yield play and it was a good price, maybe it was mismanaged, now I'm excited. So I'm not saying it has to be a B, but B class to me is the sweet spot. For me, it's all about the location. You want to be in states that are on the right track of economic growth, as you know very well, as people are moving to them, jobs are increasing, that sort of thing. Not specifically has to be a big city. I don't mind tertiary markets. And then size is kind of an issue for me now. I prefer 100 and up, just because at 100 you have in-house maintenance staff, and you have a little more control over the repairs. And while the spreadsheet has reserves for X and we have our little projections, we never really know what's going to break. And especially now with the labor shortage, you just don't really, I wouldn't know how to do it. If I was trying to project in a spreadsheet 3 years from now what fixing an air conditioner unit is going to cost, I would have no idea. Having an in-house staff, now sure, you'd say you don't know what they're going to charge you, but I feel more confident in having that being less of a variable than being at the whim of contractors 3 years into a deal. But again, no rule is hard fast. I've invested below 100, and then I don't know what the exact number is, but beyond, I don't know, let's call it 300, 400, you're probably competing against institutions, and institutions can afford cap rates and yields that you and I are not interested in. They're just too low. We're not looking to park, hundreds of millions of dollars to meet regulatory compliance and just get slightly above a T-bill. That's not what you or I are obviously interested in. So yeah, that's the sweet spot would be like 100 units and up, below, call it 400, I don't know, in B-class markets in cities that are growing.
Beautiful, beautiful. So then, since you focus on the passive side of things, I imagine that the KPs are probably the people who you're looking for more than anything else. I myself am the same, and that's because I've got this digital background with marketing and funnels and CRM. So KPs tend to have the infrastructure where I can actually make a disproportionate difference. Whereas if you're first starting out, then it doesn't matter if you automate something if you're only doing it for 10 people, right? So I'm looking for KPs and sponsors. Is that who you're best suited to help in commercial real estate, or do you prefer meeting up with beginners, or like who should really be reaching out to you, Andrew?
I love talking to everybody. I always find it interesting that everybody's got a different view on the economy, whether it's going to crash this year, whether a recession is imminently around the corner. I find everybody's viewpoints interesting. If a new investor wants to ask about, hey, what deals have you done? What have you liked? What have you haven't liked? I'm happy to share. I get hit with, I wouldn't say sales calls, but I mean, I get hit with a good amount of, hey, can I pitch my deal? And it still is a win for me. The more deals you watch, you kind of start keying on, okay, I want to look at my exit cap rate. For me, that's a big pet peeve. If your exit cap rate is on the wrong side, and you know where I'm going with that, then that's kind of a deal breaker for me. Like, I don't even want to hear the rest of the presentation, I'll be honest. If like the revenue stream is too heavily built in with trash haul or laundry, I start getting a little bit nervous. The typical hockey stick projection of any industry, whether it's venture capital or, you're buying a gold mine or you're buying in a condominium, the hockey stick projection just kind of scares you. You're thinking, oh boy. And it's all about track record, so I think we're going to hit at some point, and who knows when, we're going to hit hard times. It's just a natural thing. And especially within the credit markets, it's not impossible we could hit a credit squeeze again. Maybe not a freeze, but a squeeze. So the syndicator that's done 10 deals, has a relationship with the bank, they're going to have a much better time getting that extra year than the guy, this is his first deal. Let's just be honest. He's got more contacts. He or she has more contacts in the Rolodex. They've got a bigger pool of investors. God forbid we have to bring some capital into the deal. And the more conservative underwriters, as you know, the guys that can say, okay, our break-even occupancy rate is 67%. They're going to survive a lot longer than the guy that's at he needs 80% occupancy, but he's got a value add deal. You're like, how long is it going to take you to flip this apartment building and do all these repairs if we're losing money month after month while we're doing the flip? So, that's kind of what we're looking for. Is from my perspective, I don't need to be promised 25% IRRs. I'm not greedy. If it doesn't do me any good if you're at a high risk of failure, should any one piece go wrong, should there be a downturn in the economy and there's vacancy and then the deal goes bust, that doesn't do me any good. Not having enough reserves or the contacts, God forbid there's there's tightness in the credit markets and you've done a bridge loan and now your year is up and the value isn't there to sell. What are you going to do now? Those kind of things. That's all part of track record and credibility with me as an investor, which is kind of a tough thing because there's lots of great young, excuse me, sorry, lots of great young syndicators out there that want to, get in the game, and they're looking to people like me to invest in. And I'm like, well,
Right.
you're going to have to go to friends and family because, when you're experienced, that's when you're going to get my money.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. That's really excellent, and I like your part about the sales calls, because like these chance encounters, in a lot of ways, it's, if an investor wants to make an appointment with me, it's like, sure, but it's going to be one of these, and then that way neither one of us are leaving empty-handed. You have your chance to say, okay, this is what you want to do, and this is what you're looking for, and then you in the audience, you get to see the whole thing. And I do the same thing with who are you helping as well. So if they're not commercial investors, it's like, okay, you've got 8 minutes. Tell me who you help, how people can help you. Just lay your cards out of the table, treat me like a person, and then everything will be fine, right? But speaking of treating people like a person, we ended up meeting through some meetups, and through LinkedIn was a part of it. Is LinkedIn the best way to reach out to you, or is there a website that's important, or how
No,
can people catch you?
LinkedIn's a great place. You can find me, Andrew Rosenberg. Pretty easy to find. We run a family business. So I work in court reporting, and I answer all the emails right away. And just hit me a connect. I don't really screen them necessarily. I give people the benefit of the doubt. If you ask for a connection and start posting offensive stuff, or hitting me with sales calls, then maybe I'll block you. But 99% of the time, I'm happy to talk to people.
Beautiful. So the only thing left is, actually, it's not for you, it's for you in the audience, which is, we've got this little bit of a problem, and don't look too carefully because you might hurt your eyes. Under my left hand, there's this big ugly red, it's really ugly. This button, it's so red and it's so ugly and it's bad. And the only way to get rid of that awful red button is by clicking on it. And then you subscribe, which it has done an amazing thing, because it means that YouTube will start paying for these videos instead of me. And truthfully, what it actually means is that my videos might show up on your list of suggestions as well, but it doesn't cost you anything. You don't have to put in your email address or any of that silliness. And you don't even have to watch the other videos. I appreciate you watching. I appreciate the time that you spent with me. Just like Andrew, I really appreciate you joining me. This has been fantastic getting to know you better.
Thanks. It's good to get to know you after enough meetings together. Just a little one-on-one time was nice today.
For sure. Thanks a lot. Make sure you 506B me. Any syndicators, make sure you 506B me.
Hi.
Oh, hey, yeah, here's my code. You got your QR code scanner? Okay, yeah, oh yeah, just hold it right in the square there. Okay, cool. And now you hit open in browser.
Okay.
Okay, are you already logged into 506B me?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, so there's my video. So now I'm already on your watch list. So when you get back to your hotel, you can find out what my core competencies are and my level of sophistication. Sound good?
Yeah.
I love your hat. Real estate's a scam. That's really funny.
Yeah.
Nice meeting you.
You too.
506B me, everybody.